I am so excited. I read my first nonfiction manga ever, like just recently, and we are going to talk about it because it is such an encouraging and inspiring story. Hello friends, very excited for this video review. We are continuing the 25 days of shoujo and josei that I'm doing in conjunction with the 25 days of manga that Shay at Shay Geeks Out is hosting. It's 25 days of manga, but I'm just featuring shoujo and josei, and this is very exciting because I think out of all the reviews that I have technically for this month that I plan to share or have already shared, all of them are shoujo, but today is actually a josei nonfiction. Very pumped, and the name of that book is Embrace Your Size, My Own Body Positivity. Oh my goodness. This was so inspiring and encouraging. I have been very curious about this. I don't remember when it first got on my radar, but I've been eyeing it and thinking about it, and I would like to do a huge shout out to Beneath the Tangles and Yen Press because they sent me a review copy, and oh my goodness, I'm so very thankful. I feel like this is a wonderful read for any woman, regardless if you're struggling with weight issues, with dieting, a combination. Honestly, it's for any woman that, or just anyone really, that struggles with their own body positivity. I was about to say positivity body, but that didn't make sense. Anyway, in case if you're not familiar with this, I'm going to sort of low-key read the opening back paragraph because I feel like it just addresses multiple concerns that I know I have personally struggled with. So it says, what do you do when your body doesn't match the ideal shape as dictated by society? What do you wear when sweats seem to be the only clothes that fit you? How do you deal with the constant, overwhelming waves of criticism about your appearance from yourself and others? And then it goes on to say that this is a love letter to anyone striving to embrace their size, and it truly is a love letter, just to put that in there. It follows Hara, who is the mangaka of this book, or of this manga, where she was inspired. Yeah, she chronicles her own journey with body positivity, what inspired her to change her mindset, and how she learned to love herself as she is. There is so much that I want to say. In fact, I recently, before this video, I wrote my review on Goodreads, and I'm like, I don't know if I really captured how powerful this story is. There were definitely struggles that the mangaka had that I personally have not struggled with before, such as bulimia as one of them. And I will say that it definitely touches and addresses eating disorders, but there's nothing I feel like graphic or maybe triggering. I mean, maybe potentially, but I feel her art style is so beautiful and so cute that she's able to take these hard topics and even her own story and make it relatable. Yes, because of the topic and the subject that she is addressing, but I feel like it's very comforting in the sense of, that sounds weird. Let me finish it. I feel it's very comforting in how she's able to use this art that doesn't make you want to be like, I don't want to address this, and just sort of like go in a cocoon where you don't acknowledge your fear, you don't acknowledge your worries. It reaches out and just gives you a gentle hug. I hope that that makes sense. I feel like maybe that's a really weird way to describe art, but her art style just does that. I feel like she just reaches out with her words, with her stories, and then, or her story, and then brings in this comforting art where you just feel less alone as a person, as a woman, or like I said, for me, because this is my personal story, but as a woman struggling because I'm coming to the point where I'm having to acknowledge that I'm not as thin as I used to be. That was actually why I was really interested in this, because I struggle very much with body positivity for myself, and I love how she mentions a few different things that I found extremely relatable, like when she talks about being in the changing room and how she now is personally living out the truth and the reality that what happens in the dressing room does not define her value, does not define her beauty, whether she can fit something or not fit something. And I thought that really powerful, because I feel like in general for women, going to the changing room is a lot, that's very pressuring, because you know that the mirror she talks about is going to show you something you may not want to see whatsoever. And she even talks about her shopping experience in Japan, of how they have sizes, like the bigger sizes are, and I guess here when I think about Walmart, specifically that came to mind, the bigger or the plus sizes are in a different section, and that how that can be intimidating. I also found when she's sharing how intimidating it was to be fashionable. I don't really strongly care for fashion for me personally, but I do feel I have been trapped in that mindset that she talks about, where because I do not fit the expectations or a certain mold that I feel society has said, I can never be fashionable in the same way that these women are. And it was so encouraging. Like, one of the things she talks about is how plus size women and just plus size people in general, that should be a norm, in the sense, like, when we talk about what is physical beauty, what is real beauty, that we don't think of how she talks about the beginning, where many people will say has to be young, balanced facial features, got to be slim, no body hair, right hair and color type, beautiful skin. Why does that have to be considered the norm in whatever country when there's so many different body types? And this manga just fulfills that so much, to just so much. It was so beautiful seeing her art style and her talk about these plus size women, and even a few, like, there was a singer that she mentioned, and also an influencer. I don't know who it is, or I should say I don't remember who it is, because she's not, I think she was Australian. Yeah, she talks about, well, this is one of the chapter headings, but she talks about how these women are like, I just want to normalize what my body type is. I don't think it's exactly what she said, but there's not this pressure to make it the new norm. It's ultimately embracing your size, just as the title says, regardless if you were considered a plus size woman, or regardless if you were considered very, very thin in society's standards. There is a definition that she gives at the beginning that I absolutely love, and I feel like it really fits this entire book of talking about what is being body positive. And she says, to me, it means knowing it's okay not to force yourself in a single mold, and having that weight lifted off your shoulders. Seeing her share her story, and how honestly I feel like she's living that out. I feel like she is making this a reality for herself and sharing that with other people. But like I said, just her story, when she's sharing what happened, because I think the first chapter title is called The Days I Thought I Need to Lose Weight. And as she's sharing what happened, her thoughts, her struggle, to now when she says my encounter with body positivity, and then how it started to change her life. Honestly, it feels so real. It feels like a reality. She's living out this definition to the fullness, where she has no longer forced herself into a single mold, and she has that weight of those expectations lifted off of her shoulders. That's not saying it's ever easy, because she does talk about that. That's not an overnight change. And she even says it sounds easy to say these things, where we embrace our size, we embrace who we are, but it's an everyday, I wouldn't say everyday challenge, but it's an everyday adventure, and in that it starts with us. And I'm so thankful that she was so transparent in sharing her story, because I found it very timely for me personally, and it was just encouraging to see someone share how being body positive is not just something in fiction. It's not just something for, again, those molds or those expectations, but it can be real for me. And I feel like that was my biggest takeaway from this book. I especially love seeing when she talks about her encounter with body positivity, and documents almost in a cool, fun way with her art. And well, maybe it was not fun for her, I think, but she's documenting her encounter and her personal changing of her mindset and of her views, and how she's introduced to being body positive isn't just a hashtag. It's not just something thrown around that sounds like, oh, this is a great idea. She's seeing like, no, and that this is true for her, and she is, again, embracing that. And I just felt, because of how she's living this out and how peaceful that she is, again, that's not saying that she doesn't have struggles, but I really feel like you see the truth in her words and how she is living it out. I feel like I went around the circle here of trying to say that, but it was so encouraging. It was so uplifting and inspiring. I love how she interviewed I can't remember her, I wasn't familiar with her, but that she interviewed a woman at the end. I think she's an actress. No, excuse me. She is a model in Japan. She's a plus size model in Japan. And I was so touched by how both of them really just want to reach other women, regardless of size, and especially young women. When Hara, the manga, is talking about where she's like, I just hope that my art can touch somebody. And it's just art. Like, I mean, we could just throw, well, it's just art. It's not that big of a deal. But she started drawing these plus size women, and no longer was her art and her heart like against each other. She shared in her personal story. She was able not only to not only reach her goal, so to speak, of touching her past self, of what she would want to show and say to her past self, but she's touching women and young women today in the now with her art. It's amazing. Like, her art in just this manga was, again, very inspiring and very encouraging, and it was very cute. It was very cute. She has a very lovely and wonderful art style, and combined with how she's written her story and sharing it with other people is very engaging. I feel like it can just reach out to other people in a way that feels like a safe place. Again, going back to the model that she interviews at the end, and they talk a little bit about eating disorders, and they talk about different expectations, and she even shares about women and movies that have been a personal encouragement to her and have changed her life. It was very, very great, and I just feel like this is a manga that I'm so thankful for, and I'm very thankful that nonfiction can be a manga too and not just a novel, because in the past I have very much struggled with reading nonfiction because I can't retain or fully understand what the writer is trying to convey to me. The way it was written and with the art style and just the art in general, it very much helped me retain it and have such a strong takeaway where I feel like this is a book, maybe, okay, I may not necessarily read it right away, right again, but I feel like I can see it and remember what she said and know, like, hey, I can love my body too. And it's not losing weight so I can love my body then. It's loving my body as it is now in this current time and place. It is just a powerful reality that I feel like wasn't something I was truly embracing for myself. And so I love this book. I'm very thankful for it. I would highly recommend it to any woman. Again, I think like I said at the beginning, regardless if you're trying to lose weight or you're dieting, a combination of the two, I feel like this is for any woman, regardless of size, that is like, I don't love myself, and here's XYZ reasons why. She doesn't necessarily address XYZ reasons why, and that could be different for any and every reader that picks up this book. But what's not different is I feel like the impact in showing every reader that, hey, you can be body positive. You can love your body just the way you are. And here is my story of how I came to live that out in fullness and make this a reality, make this a truth, and also interviewing other women as well as showing women across the world, not just in Japan, but in America and Australia, that are women that are living this out too, that they're being brave and that they're showing women all over the world that, hey, you can, as this title says, embrace your own size. Again, I highly, highly recommend this. It is a wonderful, as I say, story. It is a wonderful book. Again, the art is amazing, very inspiring, very encouraging, and just leaves you not walking away with like, I'm gonna set out to exercise 60 minutes a day, or I'm gonna diet like this so I can lose weight. And she doesn't say that you shouldn't do those things. She definitely doesn't say that. But again, it comes back to just loving how your body is in the now. I highly recommend this. Let me know if there's other nonfiction titles that you have read that you've really enjoyed. I would very much be interested in seeing what other nonfiction manga that are out there that I could try and check out from my library. So please leave those recommendations down below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And thank you so much for watching. Bye!